Hey guys, welcome back to my seed starting area. Today we're going to be starting some new seeds. It's been 3 weeks since we started our onions and it is time to start some more. And we're going to up pot some, actually not up pot, but I'm going to combine the onions on this tray that did sprout into, well, just condense it into some trays so that I can start some more because not all of them started. I mean, not all of them germinated and sprouted, so that will have at least what we planned to put outside. I'm gonna start some more, and I found my garden marker if you were here last time. So we're gonna make some fresh labels, and I'll bring you guys along over the next few weeks because it's quite a few weeks until I release this video. So if I do anything more garden-wise, I'm going to bring you along, so I don't know what is going to be included in this video. So let's get to work. First, I'm going to, like I said, condense the onions here and start some more. Also, the tray that I have the onions in right here has a hole because as soon as I started bottom watering, it was just leaking. So I quickly just transferred the whole thing, I just stacked it into another one. Yeah, so this will be just a tray that I'll use for when I'm germinating stuff because of the leak. Okay. So what we are going to do is, I'm going to look through each of them. And like this one has something sprouted, so this we're going to leave, but this and this we're going to pop out. Let me get my bowl. So we're going to pop these cubes out. And what we're going to do is we're going to take one that does have some sprouts in it, and we're going to get it into the empty slots in here. So this one has a tiny bit of growth here. Can you see that? So we're going to, I don't know where it went now. I lost it. Okay. But I see something over here too. So tiny, I don't know if the camera will pick it up. Can you see that? So let's be more gentle with this one. Okay, so now this one has all 6 cells filled with seeds that germinated. So we're going to get it into our tray here. And over here, let's see. We got one here. This one looks dried up. I don't think anything will happen with that. But over here, in this tray, I have one. So I'll just pop out one over here. And I'll pop this one in here. Let me make sure this one here is dried up. Nothing's gonna come of it. And this one here at the edge, I see something. So I'm gonna try to transfer it. So I'm gonna pop out one. And let's see if I can get it. Okay. So I'm going to write again what those are using my garden marker. Okay, so I'm going to put this with our tray over here. And we're going to do the same thing here with our ruby red onions, which we started less initially and even less germinated. Okay, I can pop out 4 over here. Well, this one has something over here, so I'll leave it. The first red onion that I tried transferring came out of the soil, so let me show you what I did with it. Look at this beautiful root system developing here. What I'm going to do for this, I'm going to get my dibbler so that I can get it in there. We're going to cover the roots back up. Okay. So now this is a ruby red. Let's see. These have nothing here. And this one has a couple. So we're going to transfer this over here. And again, we're going to make another label. Now I'm trying to keep very meticulous notes of what we're doing. So before we continue, I'm going to update today's date over here, and I'm going to write what we're doing. So before we move on to anything else, I'm going to write down how many onions we have here that have sprouted, that I condensed it, and I'll write down how many more we're starting. The New York Early, I wanted 48, which is the variety that we got right here. And look at this beautiful growth that we have over here. But I want to make sure that I have that or more. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 33, which is, I believe, more than we needed. Yeah, I believe it's more than we needed. I didn't write how many I needed, actually. So we're going to go with that. Now that we're done with the note keeping for this, just wanted to show you this gorgeous growth on here. So beautiful. We're going to put this back under the light. I'm going to add some water in here. I'm going to put this under the light. What we're going to do over here is we're going to refill this, start some more onions. So we're going to do, oh, I should have kept that. Where is that? The previous tape or marking. And we're going to do 2 of the Powell F1 and 1 of the Ruby Red. Now, I don't know if it's ideal to reuse this soil, but that's what I'm going to do anyways. I'm going to get some more in here. I'm going to add water to hydrate it. So a lot of people will hydrate the soil once it's already in the pots. I think it's a lot easier to do it this way. I remember last year trying some with hydrating it after and some like this, doing it before, and it was so much easier to do it this way. So I remember last year I filled up my cells with soil, and then I put the water on the bottom and I let the soil soak up all that water. So the soil soaked up all that water, and as it was soaking it up, the soil just compressed, it just lowered down, because if there was air gaps or anything, it all went away with the water. So if you do this before, it's a lot easier to fill and a lot more efficient. And the reason why you want to get the soil wet, whichever way you want to do it, is you need the seeds that we're starting to be, once it gets wet, you need it to stay wet. So this, by getting the soil hydrated again, it's a lot easier to keep the seeds wet for the entire time until they germinate. So I think that this is good now. It's holding its shape and it's not squeezing out any water. So let's get to filling our cells. And you saw me doing this last time also. I'm just going to do it over the bowl so any excess can be reused. I get it in there, lightly push down to get rid of any air bubbles. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to start with our seeds here. So here we got all of our onion seeds. So New York early is good. And this is the Powell F1, which is going to be these. And you saw how I did it last time. Just put 2 seeds per cell. And then we pushed it in a little bit. Because these don't have to be very deep. If I remember correctly, it's just like a 1/4 inch. And then here we go with the ruby red. Now these seeds are black, so as soon as I put it in, I'm gonna push it down because I'm gonna lose sight of it a lot quicker. So I'm gonna write down that I started more. We're gonna get this wet. This needs more water. And this is to get the seeds wet. And we're gonna keep misting these once or twice, maybe more daily, so that they can germinate. Now, I don't think I'm going to cover them quite yet and get them on the shelf because we're going to be starting more seeds. But since I already pulled out this, we're just going to cover it. This helps create humidity, which helps with the germination process. But I'm just going to set it aside for now. Okay, and let's see what we're starting today. So, I'm pulling out of the box the packets that we need today, and then I'm gonna cross-reference what I had written down in my planner to make sure that I got everything. I'm having a hard time talking today. So we got Black Beauty eggplant, the diamond eggplant, which is a new one, celery, habanero pepper, and California wonder peppers, red and yellow. Let's see how many of each we need to start. So I need 2 of the yellow pepper, 7 of the red pepper, 2 habaneros, do 1 of the diamond, 2 of the Black Beauty. Oh, I have more eggplant. So we'll do 4 of the Black Beauty and 3 of the diamond. Okay, so these things are slow to start. So I'm going to start them in smaller pots and we'll transplant them into bigger ones later on. So I need 4 for the Black Beauty. I need 3 for the diamond eggplant. 7 for the red pepper. Actually, I'm thinking I'll do this just for the peppers. For these, I'll do something else. 2 for the orange. 2 for the habanero. And I'm gonna start, actually actually 3 of each of these to have an extra one, and 2 more of this for extra. And then I'm gonna do these for the eggplant. So Black Beauty, we said 4. This one we said 3. But I think I'm gonna start more between those 2, and I'll do, I think, 1 in here of the diamond and 3 of the Black Beauty. And for the celery, we planned for 7, so we'll do this. So now that I have pots dedicated for these, I'm gonna set them aside and we can start filling some pots. So I'm not sure how many will fit in here. So let's see. It doesn't quite fit 3, but let's see. Okay, so we can do like this. Eggplant with 1 pepper. So we're gonna start filling these. Now you don't want to push the soil down in the pot too much, because you want to give the roots an easy time to develop. If they're too compacted, the roots won't be able to develop properly, the seed won't be able to germinate properly, because they'll have to push through all that pressure. So you want it nice and fluffy, but you don't want major ear gaps, and that's why I'm pushing down lightly on it. As I'm filling the pots, I'm keeping the seed packets next to it so I can keep track of which pots are getting what seeds. So this is compost from a new bag that I just opened up. So it's not as dry, and it takes a lot less water to get it hydrated. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands so that it's a little bit easier to work with all these, and then we're gonna start all of our seeds. Okay, I didn't like soap it, but I just washed it to get rid of the bulk of the dirt. And we're gonna start off with the first tray that we filled so that we can get these covered. So on the packet, it says how to start it. It says when to start it, how deep to start it. We're gonna follow what it says. So these peppers have to be 1/4 inch deep, just like the onions, not too deep. What I'm going to do though, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to start 2 seeds in the center of each pot to ensure germination. Unlike the onions, which the onions I started earlier than I needed to, these I'm starting when I need to. So it's to ensure germination, and if both germinate, then we're gonna let these grow out a little bit, and then we'll choose one that looks healthier, and that's the one we'll keep. And this, we said we're gonna start 4 in one and 3 in the second one. How many seeds do I have? Yeah, I have more than I need. So let me think, if we're doing 4. So I have exactly enough to put 2 seeds per cell, like I did for the pepper. So that's what we're gonna do. Again, same reasoning. And didn't check how deep this one needs to go. Also 1/4 inch. And over here, we're starting one of our diamond eggplant. So now we can label these. Okay, and I noted that the front one over here is the diamond variety. And this seed packet is empty, so we can get rid of this. Let me make a tag for these peppers. Let me write down what I did on that tray. Just like before, we're gonna mist them to get the seeds wet. Now these are ready to be moved onto the shelf here. Let's do this tray, because this one over here has the eggplant that we just did one, on the other tray. Celery, if I remember correctly, is very small seeds, and these just press onto the surface. They look basically, I don't know, poppy seed size, maybe even smaller. So I'm just sprinkling a few seeds in the corner, like we did in the onions, where we did like 2 per cell. But on the packet of it here, they said to put 3 clusters of 3. So I'm just pressing it into the soil, not digging it in or anything like that. And again, make sure that it has contact with the soil. Now this time, because I am working with more seed varieties than I did when I did the onions, I am labeling them as I'm going. Now this one, these over here, should be the California Wonder. So these are the red peppers. Okay, and these again have to be 1/4 inch. Now these saran wraps I saved from last time, but I'm gonna have to cut a 3rd one for that. And we keep recycling these. Gonna get these on the shelf. Now these, I already got the peppers in there. So let me just do this. And this one again, same thing, 1/4 inch deep. And we're gonna again do 2 seeds per cell. These are habaneros, which I believe it says either on the packet or on the website to wear gloves when dealing with this, because usually in peppers the seeds is the spicy part. But when I'm working with this amount of seeds, I'm okay with it. It's only 6 seeds when I have already worked with a bunch of them. So let's label these. I forgot to update how many of each I started. Actually, it's only this tray that I need to do. And okay, we got a new piece, and I made it way bigger than I needed to. And we'll add this to our shelf. Do I have space for 3? Let's see. Okay, I shifted some things around to make space on the very bottom shelf. Okay, so this is it for today. So I think I might have to water that. I think I could wait another day to water that, maybe later today. I'll see how it's looking. And we're gonna keep an eye on the seeds over here, and then I got the last tray down here. So we're gonna keep an eye on these. We're gonna keep misting them to make sure that the seeds stay wet and that they germinate. And like I said, anything that I do between now and you guys see this video, garden related, I'm gonna bring you guys along. Let the 2026 garden start officially. Now that we've got so many more going, it feels more real. Like with the onions, I was like, okay, this I know that I still have a long time. But even with all the snow out, doing all this makes it feel so real. Okay, so we're back here by the seed starting station. And first of all, I pre-filled my pots already because you've already seen me do it. I was gonna do this. It is now a week ago. I was gonna do it. I had prepared my trays and I prepared my pots. I counted out the pots according to how many seeds of everything I need. I pulled up my camera so I could bring you guys along, and it was dead. The mic was dead, so I had to charge everything. And by the time everything was fully charged, it was very late. I was busy with other stuff, and then the week got away from me, and I'm finally getting back to it. So, today we are going to start a bunch of different things. We are starting some snapdragons, some eucalyptus, some ghost pepper, Carolina Reaper pepper, and snapdragon. So we're doing 2 flowers, greenery, and peppers. So for this pot over here, I have back here one of these 4-section ones. And I'm going to start one in each of them. And for the snapdragon flowers, I have these round ones here. It's 5 of them. And I want 12, so I think I'm going to start 3 per pot. I'm going to make like a triangle of them. So with the eucalyptus, okay, it says basically to just lightly cover in soil. So these are tiny little seeds. So I'm just going to move away the soil a little bit. I'm going to actually take off my glove. And I'm just going to sprinkle a few of them right on the surface. Probably between 2 and 4 seeds to ensure germination. And then I'm going to cover it back up. As for the snapdragons, same thing, we're going to cover it lightly. And this I'm assuming is tiny little seeds because they're in such a little envelope. And you can see over here, they look like poppy seeds. Can you see them? Not very clearly. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to move the soil away a little bit. 3 little divots. I'm going to sprinkle a couple of them. And loosely cover. I have like 3 seeds left in here, so if some of them land in here and sprout, that's good. And I'm just leaving the packets next to the pots so that I can make labels afterwards. Okay, next up we're going to do peppers in the round ones. So I'm going to do 2 ghost peppers, 2 Carolina Reapers, because I remember from last year that these spicy peppers had a much harder time sprouting. And even though I only need 1 of each, I want to start more. And these will go 1/4 inch deep. So I'm just going to create a little hole in there. I'm going to actually drop in 2 seeds to ensure germination. Now, ideally, peppers I would do in smaller pots, but they're all basically in use right now for the onions. So I would have started them in the smaller pots, and then once they sprouted, transfer them into these bigger ones. So I have to remember for next year that I should buy more of those smaller seed starting trays, because peppers take a little bit longer to sprout. That makes it a little bit easier if it's in a smaller pot. And tomatoes, you want to start in the big ones because they grow so super fast that by the time they sprout, you want them in a bigger one. And then once you transplant it, they grow big again. And you don't want to be busy transplanting them every 2 weeks. Versus peppers, they take a longer time to grow. That's why we're starting them out a lot earlier. So it's easier to manage. And then it's not taking up as much space over here. Next, we are going to do the snapdragons. Oh, I'm calling the snapdragon and snapdragon. 2 different types of snapdragons. The one that I did in here is called Lion's Mouth Snapdragon Blend. I'll put a picture up for you on the screen so you can see what it's going to look like. And now, in these pots, we're going to do, these are called Johnny's, I don't know how to pronounce it, but this one. This is the one that I had last year. The one that I'm doing over here is a new one, new variety. And I don't even know if I have as many seeds as I thought in here. I have 4 seeds in here. And I wanted 12, I think. Well, I guess we'll Just start all of them, and I'm gonna hope that they germinate. I have more than 4. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. I have 9. Also, the reason why I wanted to bring you guys along is because the seeds that we had started last time had germinated, and I wanted to show you how I consolidated them and got them up on the shelf under the lights. And want to show you fertilizing the onions and trimming the onions, which those I still didn't do, so I can show those for you today. So because I wasn't getting around to it, I just took those seedlings. They needed the light. They needed to be under the light. So I got those consolidated in less trays. Like we had started more onions. I got the onions with the onions. And I got all the other peppers and celery that we had started into the least amount of trays possible. So yeah, I got those up on the shelf and watered, and they are doing really, really good now. I'll show them to you what they look like. Okay, so since I only have 9 of this, and I wanted 12 of this variety and 12 of this variety of snapdragon, I'm hoping that we're going to get enough of germination on these that I'll be able to use this and mix together with these. I was going to have them one line of these. Let me show you what I had in mind. So I was planning to do one variety of snapdragon over here, one over here. So based off of the germination that we're gonna get, I'm gonna sprinkle this variety in between this variety instead of having them split up. Okay, remember from last time, we're gonna spray this to hydrate the seeds to get them germinating, and we're gonna keep doing this until they do germinate. Now, I do remember from last year, snapdragons were a little finicky, and they were extra sensitive when going under the light. And a lot of them had dried out after germinating when I got them under. So we'll have to be more careful of that, more mindful of that this year. I saved my plastic wraps. We're using this as our humidity dome to help with the germination. So these seed packets I'm going to put away in our little organizing bin that we had created back in the day. If you saw it, I can link that video for you. The snapdragon packets I'm getting rid of because if I want to reorder those seeds, I can always go back to my order history and reorder them. But just from knowing myself in the last couple of years, I'm gonna want different color schemes next year, and I can always look for something else. And again, if I want the same one, I can just look up my order history and reorder the same one. So for snipping the onions, I just don't want it so much taller than the light. So I just trim them a little bit. And these look dry, so we're gonna have to water them as well. And these over here are so beautiful. Let me cut them first. Look at the beautiful thickness of this. It's so beautiful. Gorgeous growth on this. I'm just gonna go ahead and trim them. Let me water these things. The onions look really dry. The peppers on the shelf up look fine, but these look dry. So to water this, I fill up one of my jars with water, and I just pour it in here. And I do one such a jar per tray. And I water it by sight. When it looks dry, I water them. If they don't look dry, I don't water them yet. And I don't know if you can see, I'll show you in a minute. There's some white growth on the onions, and that happened because I didn't have the fan. I forgot to have the fan turned on once the onions germinated. So once they're hydrated, the soil, I will come with a spoon and scrape off that top layer, and that should be fine. It's not going to damage the onion plants. They are healthy, they're strong, they're going to be fine, but it's just not pleasant to look at. But if you're seed starting at home and you have this growth on the top layer of your soil and your seedlings are not looking healthy and strong, then you would want to do your research of how to properly get rid of it, because it could inhibit the growth. Can you see all that white fuzz on the top of the soil? So we're just going to scrape it off once the soil is hydrated, because right now the tops are dry. We're going to, like I said, with a spoon, just scrape off that top layer and get rid of it. And over here you can see the peppers that we had germinated. Now most of them you can see, both of them sprouted. I'm going to wait another couple days, maybe a week, and we're going to choose the healthier one. And the one that's not looking as good, I would just cut down here so as not to disturb the delicate root system from the one that we're leaving, because they're still so new. Here we got our celery. We've got plenty of germination, and I don't even know how many I'll be planting. This is some more peppers. I think for the fertilizing, the onions need to be fertilized. I haven't done it yet since they germinated. And the peppers, if I'm doing it already, I might as well do the peppers as well. I don't want to fertilize it until I scrape over the top layers. So again, I'm going to do this maybe tomorrow. And the onions are still okay because the soil that I used to start these seeds have a lot of nutrients to it. If you are using a seed starting mix for it, seed starting mix doesn't have any nutrition to it, nothing of it. It just has enough that the seed should be able to germinate. And at that point, just to germinate, they don't need a lot of nutrition. They don't need a lot of anything to be able to germinate. But because I use a good fertilizer, a good compost, it has a lot of nutrition, and that's why they were able to get so nice and strong and healthy without me fertilizing it yet. But once I start, I'm going to keep it on the calendar, and I'm going to try to do it every 2 weeks. So I'll bring you guys along later, tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to end up doing it later because I want to go to bed. It's kind of late. When I scrape over that top layer and fertilize. Okay, good morning, guys. So like I said yesterday, now that these are hydrated, I am just going to scrape off the top layer. And we're going to get rid of this soil. That is looking so much better already. Even though there's nothing growing in this cube, I'm still going to take it off in case if it's environmental and it can transfer back onto the others. This doesn't have anything that's sprouted or is growing in it, so I'll just get rid of all of the soil outside in the garden. We don't need to have this in here. And it gives me another grid cell to use when I'm starting more seeds. I'm going to do the same thing in this tray. Oh wow, look at the roots coming out at the bottom. Beautiful. That's the specialty of the pots that I'm using. I can link them for you down below. Actually, the round ones that I'm using are not like that because those are from the nursery from the years before that I saved. But all of the square ones, rectangular ones, like this, and the ones that I used, yesterday I used it for some of the snapdragons, and I used it for the eucalyptus. Those have like the slits on the side, and it helps the roots develop a lot better because they won't get root bound. Root bound means that a lot of times when you buy starts in the nursery or your big box store, and you pull it out of the pot, it's just a bunch of roots all around the base. That means that it's root bound because the roots didn't have where to go. So it tangled onto itself, and it can prevent proper growth while it's still in the pot with that, and then it's harder for it to develop properly once it's in the ground. It just takes a little bit more energy, more time for it to get going. And you see by all the roots coming out, it's not twisting onto itself. That's amazing. I'm impressed with the growth on there. So yes, I started scraping off all that white fuzz from the top using a spoon, but it wasn't working very well because I was trying to be gentle around the plant itself. So I got a skewer out and I'm scraping the top layer, then I'm using the spoon to pick up that loose soil and getting it into the cup that I will then dispose of all of this soil because I don't want to have it. Now while we're still on this shelf, we're going to fertilize. I'm going to get some water in here, this watering can that I have. And I don't know if this is the best one to use at this point, but this is what I have inside the house, so this is what I'll be using. I'm going to add a little bit of this into the watering can along with some water. So you need just a drop of it. You really don't need a lot because this is very concentrated. I'm going to put about a tablespoon of it in here. And these plants are still so little, they don't need too much right now. So let me go fill this up with water. I'm just going to pour a little bit over the top of each of them. And the plant will absorb everything. I'm gonna fertilize the plants on top also, which are eggplant, celery, and a bunch of peppers. And the last thing we're gonna do today is we're gonna spray our new plants, our new seeds that we started yesterday, to keep the seeds moist so that they can sprout. And this part I'm doing a couple of times a day, at minimum, to ensure that the seeds stay wet. Because once you plant them and you get them wet, you want them to stay wet until they germinate. If they dry out once they got wet, then it dies. It's never gonna sprout. Okay, that will be it for today's video. So I wanted to thank you for taking time out of your day to watching this video. And if you enjoyed this and you want to see when we plant out this onions, when we start more seeds, when we plant out all of this and the rest of our garden, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.